Meanwhile, the man who was fired in this matter, Ben Fisher, has yet to testify in his own behalf. He is expected to take the witness stand when the case resumes tomorrow. Fisher's attorney, who has threatened to take this case to district court if he loses the appeal, now says he wants to wait and see about the outcome of this case before he makes that final decision. John Clark, Action News, 6.
Sure would have been nice to have one of these around when I was a kid. Would have helped me to work the bugs out. Rich Teesfeld, Action Sports.
They're putting about $50,000 worth of work into each of these units, even though they will only sell for about $28,000. That will do two things. Number one, it will provide enough quality to attract new residents, and number two, it'll still be cheap enough for the people who already live here to afford.
From here, it's up to the county board to decide if VTech made the right decision in restricting John Beck's visitation rights. They'll be reviewing the facts of the case this week and should have some sort of response at next week's meeting. Sally Myers, Action News 6.
It's almost been like a game of musical offices for the people in this job service branch office at 84th and Park Drive. It's a game they just can't seem to win. And it spells bad news for the people in this area who are looking for jobs.
But there never was a water quality study conducted on Keg Creek. Scientists at the Department of Environmental Quality in Des Moines are telling the people here in Glenwood that much of the decision to build a $9 million sewage treatment plant was based on a composite model of other creeks in this area.
The problem of financing the venture is compounded by the 7% lid on local subdivisions and by the fact that right now there doesn't seem to be a dime of federal money available to help. Catherine Joyner, Action News 6, Fremont, Nebraska.
It could take 4 to 7 years to even get started on the project. Much of that time spent in Congress trying to get legislation through.
But there's some doubt whether those overpayments will ever be collected because the legislature has cut off funding for the fraud squad and the unit is to be disbanded at the end of June.
There will be more testimony on these pretrial motions tomorrow. The Hells Angels trial itself is not expected to begin until July or later. Joni Hoffman, Action News Tonight.
An Action News 6 update brought to you by the Nebraska Furniture Mart, All Makes Office Equipment, and Metro Motors.
A heavy voter turnout, that's the word throughout Nebraska and Iowa as we approach the time when the polls close. 8 o'clock here in Nebraska, 9 o'clock in Iowa.
The observers must remember that the people of Iowa will tonight decide who is the most qualified to take that seat. Bill Kelly, Action News 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Byron Wood. Welcome to Action News coverage of Campaign 84, Election Night. It is now 7:53 p.m. That means the polls close in just 7 minutes here in Nebraska, and we can begin giving you the early returns from Douglas and Sarpy County.
But we campaigned with the idea that we could pull out some of the other counties and win, yes, and I think we still can at this point.
Thank you, Lee. Ann Peterson at Lee Terry Headquarters.
Hello, Wally and Gary. Got Congressman McCollister here with me. Congressman, apparently UPI has declared Mayor Zorinsky the winner in this race. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's not, they can't do that yet. There's less than half of the votes counted out of 275,000 votes.
Mayor Zorinsky was 3 years old the last time Nebraskans elected a Democrat to the United States Senate, and a little more than an hour ago, the mayor thanked his volunteers here, and the mayor, it sounded like a victory statement. With 58% of the vote in, you're leading by some 22,000 votes. Are you still hedging your bet a little bit right now?
Certainly. I'm going to hedge it until I either hear from my opponent or if I happen to open up a wider margin spread.
Sue Baggerly has this live News Star 6 report. Sue?
Well, Gary, this is the first credit union.
Jim Fagan is there with a story live via News Star 6. Jim?
Well, Gary, about one.
John Chapman is standing by live with a News Star 6 report and tells us that the weather finally cooperated. John?
Pat, the windy weather did delay things here a bit today, but after the winds died down, the balloons went up.
Dave Weber stopped in Kansas City on his way back from yesterday's Nebraska-Missouri football game. He is standing by live for this News Star 6 report. And Dave, here in Nebraska, we're a football state, an Iowa football state. We probably can't even comprehend the excitement going on in Missouri this week.
I tell you what, it was crazy all day today in Kansas City.
We didn't see very much excitement at all at the Nebraska-Missouri football game, at least before the game. But all day long, we walked around Kansas City, and a lot of people were excited about the baseball game and, of course, excited about the World Series.